Hi, so for my fourth screencast talking about instruction, I'm going to be talking about a online interactive whiteboard that I like to use in conjunction with my classroom interactive whiteboard, which I don't have a smartboard or Promethean board. We have a ViewSonic view board. They are more like a giant tablet that is mounted to your wall than a smartboard or Promethean board. I really like the product I'm going to be talking about with all the COVID restrictions at my school. So with that said, I'm going to be talking about, I'm trying to extend this a little bit, Google Jamboard. So if you are someone who is looking for this, if you are a Google school, it's one of the options. You can just Google Jamboard, or if you are a Google school, if you click on your waffle and scroll down through, it should show up. If you've never used it before, it might be down near the bottom. Mine's slowly making its way up further as I use it more and more in my instruction. As it's a Google product, it's completely free as long as you have a Google account. And it's really easy to work with. So let's just jump right into this demo. I'm going to use an assignment that my students have already done using this. At the beginning of each unit, I do what's called a driving question board. We watch a phenomena, and then they generate questions. And those questions start just by being generalized questions that just show up. They use the sticky note feature. Sorry, for some reason this won't go full screen today. Challenges. So over here, they use the sticky note feature, and they type their question in, and it pops up onto the Jamboard as soon as they type whatever, hit save, their question pops up. So what I do is I let all the kids' questions come up at once, and they are just kind of in a giant pile. Some of the kids, that really annoys them, and they will start organizing them just by putting them all in straight lines, which is fine. And then we go through and we organize them into groupings of similar types of questions so that we can kind of figure out what things do we need to focus on to be able to describe the phenomenon. So for this assignment, we watched a phenomenon of predator-prey relationships from a BBC video, and then they generated questions and used the sticky note tool, or some of them used the text box tool, which is the ones that are on a white background. Very similar. The other really cool tools are the pen tool, so you can come in and write with a pen. This works really well when I have it projected up on my board, because I can use the pens that go with the view board to write on it. There's also an eraser, so if you want to clean it up, you can erase. Generally, you want it clicked onto this mouse so you can click and move things and edit. You can add images, so either an image directly from your computer, or if you have something in your Google Drive, or even a Google image search. So if I wanted to put in a picture of a dog, I could drop a picture of a dog in, which is totally random and doesn't go with my assignment, but you can also put in shapes. I'll be honest, I haven't found these to be super useful right now, but arrows could be really useful. Some of my students were using the arrows on their recent food web project. The other feature that it's a great strength and a terrible weakness, depending on how you want to look at it, is this laser pointer. Students can click and drag and say, I want this one here, which can be really helpful when we're having a whole class discussion and you're trying to describe where you want something to go, but not just click and move it and throw everyone else off. But it seems that students are constantly, well, I have this, if I have it projected up on the board and my back's to it, there are all these laser lines going all over the place. So it's kind of a cool but kind of annoying tool all at the same time. I think the biggest strength of this tool is it's a Google tool. It can incorporate with Google Meets if you are a Google Meet school, not a Zoom school for right now. And I really like that everyone can work together on it, but we're not having to touch the same thing with all the COVID guidelines. It's really great for that. So I liked that. Normally I had a similar kind of system I did this assignment with in the past using sticky notes and like everybody touching them. And I was able to use this and it wasn't a big transition, but it also seemed actually more usable and it kind of enhanced because everyone was actually able to read each other's questions to talk about them, not just one person read their sticky note and they make a decision where it goes. So it's much more interactive. Also, if you have students that are at home and students in your classroom, they all can interact with it at the same time. The weaknesses of this tool. I've had a couple students who try to use it more like a PowerPoint to present, and I don't think that's really a great tool for this. You can have additional slides, so like I have a slide for each of my periods questions. You'll notice they all look a little bit different. They had different things they focused on. And then this is like what a blank slide when you first open it looks like. But I think the weaknesses are more, it's great to work on, but if you have too many people on one, it really quickly goes from productive to kind of all over the place. It definitely takes some time to teach students good practices and how do we use a Jamboard in a meaningful way and not annoy everyone else that's on it. So in my classroom, this is one way I've been using it, is in driving question boards at beginnings of units. I've also used it to make our class's social contract. We used it there, and some of my students, particularly my special ed students, have really enjoyed using Jamboards to organize their ideas for assignments versus Google Slides. I think there's a few less options, but can still do a lot of the same features. So it's helpful. So this was a student's first draft at their food web, and while they have some errors, like all their arrows are going the wrong way, they have some good ideas shown here. So I think it's a really great tool. I think it's pretty dynamic. As you can see, this student has a very dynamic one. Putting in backgrounds, you can use this background here. If you totally mess up, you can use this clear frame button, which I'm not going to click since this is a assignment. But yeah, so I think Jamboard is really great. I think that it is really helpful and it allows for some of those things that we do on an interactive whiteboard, but helps with the fact that we don't want just one student working with it, which is one of the things that I saw come up in in the readings about interactive whiteboards and in a lot of our comments. So I think that part of it's great, is that everyone can interact at once and they all have kind of their own say on it because they have it right in front of them if you are in a one-to-one situation. That is one of the weaknesses. You want each student to have their own, or maybe in pairs, to use Jamboard well. It's definitely each person should have it, because otherwise I think there's much better tools you could use if you're using just a interactive whiteboard. Like my board has a very comprehensive interactive whiteboard as well. So thank you for watching this, and I'm sorry about the interruption because I'm doing my video at school.